On this episode of Exactly How, you'll learn exactly how to wholesale deals in a way that most people have never thought of. You'll learn some creative marketing tricks that lead to the best deals in any market, and you'll learn how to make $20,000 or more on a single wholesale deal on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth-building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Connected Investors podcast, Exactly How. During this episode, you're going to discover exactly how to wholesale real estate in a really creative way, and also how to create a vision for your entire real estate investing business. For those of you who are new, my name is Ross Hamilton, today's host and CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com. Today, we have the privilege to learn from a guy who's a Cuban-American multi-millionaire who measures success by the amount of lives that he impacts, not money alone. Prior to his career in real estate, he was a financial analyst at GE, and he started to kind of look at the company and see where his boss's boss was, and he was like, you know what? That's not the life that I want for me. He found real estate, went all in, and has been very, very successful. I would describe our guest as a great connector who is always driven by creating a positive impact on people's lives. His name is Alex Pardo, and today he's going to explain exactly how to wholesale. Alex, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us.
It is my pleasure, Ross. Always great to connect with you, man. I'm excited about doing this, so thank you.
Yeah. You and I have been buddies for over a decade, and we even share the same birthday.
July 2nd, baby. Gotta love it.
There you go. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of wholesaling, Alex, you contribute a lot of your success to your focus on giving first and always adding value to others. Why do you think that's played such a huge role in your success?
You know, I've been asked that question before in the past, and initially, years ago, I thought it was about the law of reciprocation. You know, initially, if I'm being honest, it was I would give to receive, and I quickly realized that I had the wrong intentions. This was many, many years ago, probably over a decade ago. And ever since, I realized that I think it was Tony Robbins that said it when I went to Unleash the Power Within back in 2007. It was around that time that I had a paradigm shift that I stopped giving in order to receive. He said something from the stage. He said, the secret to living a fulfilled, happy life and the secret to life is to give. And ever since then, I really, really took that to heart. And I've always approached relationships with wanting to give. And, you know, when you give, you're going to naturally receive. But I think if you come at it from a heart where you just want to help and add value, have a positive impact on that person's life, man, it just leads to more happiness and fulfillment. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, that's a really eye-opening response there. I really appreciate that. And you know, as I kind of dive into different forms of spirituality and meditation, I picked up on something from an individual who said, if your purpose to meditate is to improve yourself, then you've already screwed up before you start. Because it's not about improve, it's about the meditation itself. And that's kind of like what you said.
Yep.
If your purpose to help other people is just to get back, then it's never really there. And people can see through that. So real estate being a very people-oriented business, especially in wholesaling, when you're helping so many people, a seller and a buyer, I think that type of attitude has really helped you out. So thanks so much for sharing that with us. Yep. For those of the individuals that are on the line here that are brand new to real estate investing, haven't yet closed their first deal, Alex, what I want you to do is just define wholesaling. Let's just define wholesaling, co-wholesaling, virtual wholesaling, all of these different terms we hear. Let's just kind of define those out so people can absorb the rest of the show.
Yeah, brother. So in a nutshell, wholesaling is nothing more than finding a property, usually at a discount. You contract that property, you turn around and you find a buyer willing to pay more, and essentially you make the spread in the middle. Now, obviously, I've really simplified it, but in a nutshell, it's nothing more than, I remember when I was 12, 13 years old, I'd buy baseball cards and I'd sell them to people for $1 more. That was essentially, I was wholesaling baseball cards. I would just make that dollar spread. You buy low and you sell a little bit higher. So we can get into the nuts and bolts of how to find these deals from a marketing perspective, but that's wholesaling 101.
Yeah. So you don't need any of your own cash, right? To wholesale.
You do not.
At the end of the day, you're really just selling a piece of paper, a contract, correct?
That's right. You're assigning a contract. I mean, there's other ways to close, like double close, but in a nutshell, all you're doing is, you're contracting the property, and then you're assigning that contract over to a buyer who's going to pay more than what you've contracted it for.
Okay. And in today's market, there's a lot of buyers.
There's a ton of buyers. Matter of fact, buyers are a dime a dozen. You could probably walk outside, throw a rock, and you might hit a cash buyer. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. We're going to dive into those 3 steps, but I just want to touch on this. What makes the Exactly How Financial Freedom podcast unique is every show comes with a detailed action plan. So we're going to pull the steps out of Alex's head. If you're driving, you don't have to worry about taking notes. We have it all for you at exactlyhow.com. Also, Alex has agreed to give away a free gift, which we'll talk about just in a second, to help you wholesale. Tons of value there. That can be found at exactlyhow.com. And during every show, we give away our flagship pre-MLS $3,000 software to a lucky listener. All you have to do is visit exactlyhow.com to throw your name in the hat. If you're watching this live, go there now because we're going to pull the name out of the hat here in just a few moments. It's all at exactlyhow.com. Okay, great, Alex. Let's jump into the steps of wholesaling. It's going to be a lot of fun here, but actually, I want to take just a step back before we go into the steps, just to make sure everyone understands it. Do you need a license to wholesale?
You do not need a license. That's a great question. I've had many people ask me that. It certainly helps if you have access, you have a license, you have access to the MLS, but there's a lot of ways that you can gain access to the MLS without being licensed. So no, to answer your question directly, you do not need to be licensed.
So you don't need a license. You don't need any cash to really do this. And it is a great gateway into real estate investing because you get to kind of, play with other people's money essentially.
Yeah. It's, wholesaling is one of those foundational tools, I think, in every real estate investor's, belts. It's the barriers to entry are really low. Anybody can wholesale. You don't need any knowledge, any experience, like we just talked about, any licenses. But the blessing can also be the curse. The fact that the barriers to entry are so low, there's a lot of competition out there. And so you have one of the first things you have to realize and wrap your mind around when it comes to wholesaling is that real estate is just a product. We're really in the people and marketing business. And I know you'd probably agree with that, Ross.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can't market yourself or your business, you're fighting an uphill battle.
That's right.
Yeah. Great. Well, we talked a little earlier about the 3 steps, and you talked about it being the marketing, the acquisition, and the disposition. So
correct.
Let's go ahead and start with the marketing.
Yeah. So marketing, you always want leads and opportunities coming into your pipeline. That's how you're going to connect with motivated or distressed sellers. I remember when I got started in 2005, the biggest mental hurdle I had to overcome, Ross, was why would somebody sell me their house at 50, 60, 70 cents on the dollar? Like, I just had a hard time because I would put myself in that person's shoes and say, well, I would never do that. And I remember a coach at the time told me, stop thinking about what you would do. These people are at a different position in their life, and so they might be emotionally distressed. There might be financial distress, circumstantial distress, like job loss or a death in the family. And so, you want to market, and there's very many ways to market, but essentially you want opportunities. Sorry about that. I got a siren going down the street here. So
hey, there's a potential wholesale deal right there.
There you go. No, but in all seriousness, you always want to keep your eyes open. Think of if you've ever gone fishing, the more lines you have in the water, the more opportunities you have to bring in a fish. With marketing, it's the same thing. As you want to try to connect with motivated sellers who are most likely the people that are going to want to sell their house at a discount.
Yeah. So I was joking around about the siren in the background there, but probate or inherited houses are an absolute, gold mine really for these individuals that inherit a house that they might not live in the same state. They want to get rid of it. The house that I live in personally was a probate deal that I happened to found. It sat there empty for 4 years because the people just didn't want to, they liked going to the house and just remembering their parents, and they were financially okay. But then at some point you got to sell the property. So
probate and inherited deals are some of the best out there because usually these people don't live in the same city. And when a family member passes away and they take over that property, they don't have the time, resources, money, in some cases, energy, or even the want to manage that property and rehab it. And so there are a lot of opportunities there. For us, Ross, tax delinquent list has been our highest moneymaker. I mean, so when we connect with people that are behind on taxes, the key there is we always look for people that are behind on taxes 1 to 3 years. That's kind of been the sweet spot for us.
Exactly. If someone just falls behind their taxes, you get a note. Oh man, I forgot to pay that. That happened. You'd be sending me letters sometimes. I have all these rental properties. Sometimes I think the bank's supposed to pay it, but I'm supposed to pay it. Yep, so if you're behind on your taxes for 1 to 3 years, that's a good sign there.
That's right.
So how do you, let's just frame the conversation around that. How do you market to these individuals? Yeah,
great. So there's so many different ways to market, Ross. Our bread and butter has always been direct mail, referrals, and as of late, cold calling and text message marketing. Mm-hmm. So when I got started in this business, I went to a 3-day boot camp. I took a letter out of the manual. I started marketing to pre-foreclosures. I would handwrite the envelopes. That's how I got started. To this day, we still send a lot of direct mail. The challenge is that that's a very popular form of marketing, and our response rates have just plummeted. So, whereas
and it's expensive.
Yes, and it's very expensive. It's expensive.
I'm just going to jump in just for a quick second here because I just watched a webinar where someone was teaching wholesaling and they completely skipped over the cost of direct mail.
Very expensive.
And I'm like, listen, that's very expensive. It can really eat into your wholesale profits when you're spending $1,000, $2,000 on direct mail, especially if response rates start to drop. So some of the more modern things that you're talking about here, Alex, will really play a big role in the success of our listeners.
Let me just mention one last thing on direct mail. You don't want to go ahead and send out a direct mail campaign once. You might as well, just put it on Black in Vegas, right? I mean, matter of fact, your odds are better putting it on Black in Vegas. Yeah. Direct mail only works if you're going to consistently hit that list over and over. We hit our list at least 7 times. So I want to pivot to cold calling. I want to pivot to connecting, networking with people, asking for referrals. One of the things we do is whenever a call comes into our office, at the end of that conversation, we're always asking if that person knows of a vacant, abandoned property or if they know of a FSBO. That one question that takes us 8 to 10 seconds to ask has yielded us hundreds of thousands of dollars in profits. Because every year, inevitably, we do a handful of deals that just by asking that one little question, hey, do you know of a property? And by the way, I'm not giving any legal advice, but, that person can be compensated if they have a license. If they don't have a license, I know several other investors that, can partner with them and get creative to incentivize them to essentially turn them into a property finder, somebody who's going to send you leads and opportunities. So we close a lot of deals from just referrals. Cold calling and text message is great because it's pretty cheap. We have a cold caller, full-time cold caller out of Mexico. She gets paid $7 an hour, and she cold calls for 8 to 10 hours a day. And essentially, we take the list that we send out our direct mail campaign to. We skip trace them, which is nothing more than just a way to get phone numbers for these records. We load them into a dialer. And she just, that's all she does all day, 8 to 10 hours is cold call people. Her job isn't to close a deal. It's just to turn that person into, she's looking for those that raise their hand and say, I have a property I'm interested in selling.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, would it help your business if I gave you the ability to skip trace for free?
Yes. Because right now I pay for it. So
yeah, 100%. Let's hang out after the call. I'll show you some of the new software that we're rolling out. And actually, this is a perfect transition into the winner of today's pre-MLS software. They went to exactlyhow.com. They threw their name into the hat, and they won this software. Let me just kind of give you a little background here. This software has all the tax delinquencies, all the vacants, all the abandoned, all these different lead sources. And it has the ability to skip trace to find the individual's phone numbers, information, has all your direct mail all tied in. It is a wholesaler's dream. I'm going to give it to you, Alex, whenever we jump off the line here. Just because I want you to be using it. It could save you a few $1,000s a month in skip trace. And we actually bought every single person's contact info in the entire United States. I know it's kind of scary. And then we matched it up with every single property address, and we do that every single month to keep it fresh. So the winner of this revolutionary software is Tim Houston.
Nice, Tim.
Congratulations. I think this is actually a really good time to mention your free gift that you're giving away, Alex. What was the free gift that you were going to give all of our members?
Absolutely. So I created a 5-video training course on essentially how to scale your wholesaling business or your wholesaling operation to 6 figures or more. Years ago, Ross, I got burned out, being the buyer, being the seller, doing the marketing, wearing all the hats. And so back in 2012, I started building a team that essentially, takes care of a lot of heavy lifting for me. And all I do is I'm the visionary of the team. I run and lead them. And, we have an acquisitions manager and a dispositions manager, transaction coordinator, and essentially they handle the entire operations of the business.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And that will be at exactlyhow.com. I'll make sure you have access to any way that Alex wants to give you access to him, his Facebook, his Instagram. And then also I'm looking here on your microphone. It looks like you have a podcast as well.
Yes. So that's been a passion project of mine for about a little bit over 3 years, Ross. I found myself always having conversations about real estate, about marketing, about personal development. And just, I love talking shop with guys like you. And at the end of these conversations, inevitably, I would always say, man, I wish that was recorded. And so I decided back in 2016, I'd launch a podcast and just give away a bunch of free content. And, here we are 3 years later, over 330 something episodes published. And it's really been an awesome platform to impact people's lives. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, you're all about connecting and giving, and you can anyone who's listening to this or watching this, is also a YouTube show. If you're just listening, what Alex is doing here, he's giving you this free training. He's teaching you exactly how to do it, what he's done. And it's, definitely make sure to check out his podcast, because he can kind of help you through all of those steps through all these different trainings. And, we decided to do a podcast as well, Alex, because I love talking with individuals like you. And now that I have a schedule, I have to have 4 conversations a week with multimillionaires. That's a good use of time. Some people are like, why are you spending all your time on this podcast? I'm like, I get to talk to the best people in the world. And I've just been fired up. So really excited about that. Exactlyhow.com. Go ahead and get all your free stuff. All right. So we talked about the marketing. Let's talk about the acquisition.
Yes. So one of the biggest tips I think I can share with listeners right now is study. Obviously, we just talked about marketing. So if you do nothing else but just focus on learning sales and marketing, you will never starve. You'll never go broke. In any business, I know Ross can attribute, can attest to this, I should say, it's a sales and marketing. So if those 2 skills are something that you focus on, you're always going to be well. So, when it comes to acquisitions, it's about how to build rapport with people. It's how to connect. It's how to solve somebody's problem. Again, real estate is just a product. Essentially, we're problem solvers. And a couple of years ago, I had never been through any formal sales training, and I finally invested in not just myself, but my entire team. We put them through a sales academy, and we taught them the tools to how to connect with people, build rapport, and how to use certain strategies to really solve people's problems and essentially, buy more property. So acquisitions, it's great if you market and the leads come in, but if you don't know how to relate to these people, you don't know how to talk to them, it's kind of flushing money down the toilet. You might get lucky on a deal now or there, but sales and marketing, that's the takeaway, is just spend most of your time learning that.
Yeah. So on the acquisition side, you're doing the marketing, you have leads coming in. Now it's, what's the conversion rate, right? How am I converting those leads? Because just kind of give us a little background on an average wholesale deal. What are you seeing in today's market as far as money in your pocket?
So in our market, we're making a hair under 25. We're like $24,382, I believe it is. Last year, our average profit per transaction was under 37, but that was driven by like 3 or 4 6-figure deals that we closed. When you take those out, we're usually hovering between 20 and 25 grand a deal here in South Florida.
$20,000 to $25,000 per wholesale deal, where you don't need you don't need money, right?
You don't.
And buyers are everywhere. All you need to be good at is marketing, finding the leads, and talking to people.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
If you're working a job right now, imagine if you went to your boss and said, "Hey, I want a $25,000 a year raise."
Not happening.
Probably not. Even if he or she gave you one, let's say you go back the next month and you're like, I want another 25.
That's definitely not happening.
Fired. But with wholesaling, with getting into this, it's really up to you to get in there. You want a $10,000 a year raise, wholesale deal. You want a $20,000, do two. Alex is doing, $20,000, $30,000 per deal that without doing any of the heavy lifting. It doesn't take many of those to really impact your entire life, your family's life, the ability to give back.
Ross, and here's the thing for anybody listening that has a job and maybe they're not happy. This is something that can definitely be done part-time. Like with anything, you have to be consistent. You got to be committed to it. But it definitely can be done part-time, so put in the time and effort. If you just did one or two of these deals every so often, would that change your life? For a lot of people, I think it would.
Yeah. And especially for our buddy, Tim, who just won the pre-MLS software that basically points to all the deals and gives you all the phone numbers. And you can really do it in your spare time. All right, let's talk about maybe the easiest and the most fun part of wholesaling, the disposition.
Yes. Man, dispositions, there's so many ways to connect with cash buyers. One of my favorite, this is not sexy. It's not going to turn any heads, but it's here's what I'll say. It's bandit signs. But before I even get into bandit signs, Ross, the more competitive our marketplace gets, I truly believe the more archaic marketing is, the more efficient archaic marketing happens. So, when I got started in this business, I was door knocking, bandit signs, direct mail, and to this day, that still works. Bandit signs is one of those things. We put out a bandit sign that says "Sleep with me," 3-2, cash only, and a phone number, and our phones blow up. Like I'm talking.
You have a picture of your face there too?
No, I don't. But sometimes I put a smiley face. Actually, we've split tested that. The smiley face produces some more calls. But yeah, sleep with me, 3-2, cash only, and a phone number. And we get hundreds of calls, hundreds.
And for the people that are looking for something other than a house, do you have a way to direct them?
Yeah, we actually, we've had some funny stories. I won't get into that. But yeah, we do have
a gosh. Call. All right. Yeah. So again, if you're going to put bandit signs up, be careful. There could be local ordinances. I used to put them up on a Friday and then take them down Sunday in some of the most popular areas around town because the county didn't work those days of the week. But definitely be careful. And actually, bandit signs, I had a lot of luck, Alex, just putting them in properties that I owned. I had a lot of rental properties or properties I was looking at buying. And whenever I was door knocking, I would put a bandit sign in the person's neighborhood. So imagine this, you get a letter, someone knocks on your door, you're not home. They hammer a sign on the entry out of your subdivision. So you're seeing them everywhere, but bandit signs can be used strategically and they still work.
Yeah. And Ross, well, here's another tip is that we look for vacant properties. Now, I would not recommend just putting your bandit sign on somebody else's vacant property. However, in Miami here, you have the property, you have a sidewalk, and then you have a piece of grass in front of the sidewalk. We always put bandit signs directly placed in front of the vacant house. We've actually had homeowners contact us because of the bandit sign, and we were able to purchase those properties. So not only do we get cash buyers calling us, it's also been a tool to get us to connect with the owners of these vacant properties.
That is a fantastic tip, by the way. And let me just kind of say what you said again. When you see a vacant house, you can put a investment property for sale sign, in the front yard, cash buyers only. And you're going to have people calling you up and the homeowner's going to be like, who the heck's this guy? Mm-hmm. And they're going to call you up, or the aunt or the uncle or something is going to, hey, your sign's in my yard. Oh, great. I've been trying to get in touch with you. I have so many buyers that want to buy your house.
Exactly.
Fantastic hack there. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yep. Here's the last thing I'll say on cash buyers, man, is we have found, Ross, that real estate agents have cash buyers that will pay pretty close to retail. And so every time we contract a property, we reach out to the realtors who have sold properties to other cash buyers in the same zip code and surrounding zip codes. And we've been able to squeeze out premiums just by working with agents who have cash buyers.
Interesting. Another fantastic tip. So this is, really how you're able to get into real estate, go around all the barriers. Though, I need money, I need license, I need experience, I need all this stuff. There's relatively little risk in all of this, other than maybe some deposit money you put down on properties.
That's right.
Which can be $1, $100, doesn't have to be much. And it's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door and take advantage of this fantastic market. Speaking of markets, can you wholesale from any market? Or do you need to do it in your own backyard?
1000%. I'll give you my own personal experience. So last year I started acquiring rental properties in a particular area of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm here in Miami, and with my marketing, I came across properties that I wouldn't want to hold as rentals, and I ended up wholesaling a handful of houses. I'm here in Miami. Those properties were in Cleveland. I never saw them. I had somebody speak to the homeowner, meet with them, contract the property. They got a piece of the deal. And so 100% you can wholesale properties from anywhere in the world.
There you go. You're not limited to your own backyard. Would you recommend people start in their own backyard?
I do, Ross. There's going to be some different schools of thought when it comes to that, because with technology, the truth is you can do this from anywhere. I would recommend, if you're new to this game, I would recommend starting, within a 5-mile radius of where you are, unless you live in, some tiny town that has less than 1,000 people. If that's the case, then yeah, go to another market. But if you live in a city that has a decent sized population, start in your own backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alex, someone gets in, they start wholesaling, they don't have a job, they quit their job, whatever. Let's be honest here. At the end of the day, wholesaling is you're making a lot of money very easily, but it is still a job, right? You want that money to come in. Totally. You still have to work things. Now you can build a business and just have a little machine built, right? You can be a machine builder, right? That's kind of how I like to define a CEO or the owner of a business. They're a machine builder. They want to build this machine that can just run with or without them. But at the end of the day is the ultimate strategy in building your kind of vision for your life to get that money into rentals or apartment complexes. Is that kind of the next step?
Absolutely. So hear me clearly for anybody listening. Wholesaling is a transactional business. You're only as good as your last deal. And even if you have a team like I do, you're constantly looking for deals. Take the money, take the capital that you're able to generate through wholesaling, and make sure that you're putting that into assets that generate cash flow. When I got started in this business, Ross, it was for cash flow. And the truth of the matter is that's probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my career. I got addicted to the income from wholesaling. And I look up, 8-10 years later, and I'm like, where's the cash flow? I've made a bunch of money. And so don't make that mistake that I made, whether it's rental properties or lending. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there. Software as a service. I mean, there's just so many things that produce cash flow. Absolutely. This is just a stepping stone. It's a vehicle. You can make a lot of money, but make sure that you don't take your eye off that cash flow ball.
Yeah. And what you said there is stepping stone is really important. Most real estate investors they're real estate investors and they're something else. They use their real estate investing to fuel either a passion they have, whether it's travel or whatever, or another business passion they have. So it's really important to know that this is an important stepping stone into whatever it is that you love, whatever it is you want to do, however you want your life to be shaped. All real wealth is held in real estate. So make sure to get some of that money back into real estate. But it's a great way to save up. If you just need to pay off some credit card bills and you want to kind of get out of debt, this is where you need to hustle in this market today, right now. And Alex is giving you his whole basically manifesto on how he's managed to do what he's done. There's a lot more resources at exactlyhow.com. And that's why we do this for you guys, to be able to help you with what you need help with. So Alex, do you mind if I jump into a little rapid fire section of the podcast?
I'd love to, man. Let's rock and roll.
All right. Actually, you know what? I almost skipped over one of the most important questions. What do you think your life would be like if you never started investing in real estate?
Oh, brother, that is a great question. I don't even know how to answer it. So I try to live my life in a place where I never operate out of fear. But if I was to say what's one of my biggest fears is working for someone else and building somebody else's vision. And so if I wasn't doing real estate, my dream was always to be a professional athlete, professional baseball player, play college baseball, but just wasn't big enough, fast enough, and it wasn't for me. So I don't know, man. I'd probably be working. I'd probably be the future CFO or CEO of a Fortune 100 company. I worked for General Electric right out of college in their financial management program. And man, I might have been stuck in that, trying to climb that corporate ladder, would not have been happy, would not have been fulfilled. And so that's a really tough question to answer, but I'd probably be in corporate America, man. Not fun. Yeah,
it's fun. Sometimes just to sit there and be like, I wonder, because it's a big right turn for people. They're going down this path, and you have to take that leap, and just to look back after being as successful as you are to say, what would have happened if I didn't take that leap? All right, time for the rapid fire. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
6, 7.
Get up early or stay up late?
No, get up early.
How many hours of sleep do you get?
7.5.
Favorite or most recent book that you read?
Profit First.
If you can be any superhero, who would it be?
Batman.
Something everyone should do less of.
Worry about what other people think about them.
Something everyone should do more of.
Live life, give, smile.
Will people live on Mars in your lifetime? Visit Mars.
No. Visit Mars, yes. Live, no.
All right. Bitcoin, bang or bust?
Bust.
All right. All right, everyone. Alex, thank you so very much for jumping on the line here.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. For everyone who's still here, you made it to the end of the show, which means you complete what you start. That's what it takes to be successful. 90% of people don't make it to the end of the show. Actually, I think 70% of people don't finish a podcast, whether it's this podcast or any podcast, but you made it to the end, which means you found a lot of value. So if you can go ahead and like, share, tag people, comment, just let us know what you liked. Let us know some of the takeaways you've had. We give a lot of time, energy, and effort to put this together, and we're fueled by your interaction. So please go ahead and let us know what you thought. Give us a thumbs up. Thank you so very much for jumping on the line. We have some amazing podcasts available. Go ahead and you can just say, Alexa, play the next Exactly How podcast. And you can just, bam, be up and running every day with the latest information right between your ears. But make sure to implement as well. Congratulations to Tim and to everyone who made it to the end of the call. I'll talk to you in the next podcast. Bye.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.